Ray supports young people across Manitoba who are disconnected from other supports, experiencing marginalization and homelessness, and basically need someone to support them in their journey forward. So our mission is to provide youth with what they need on their terms to better their lives. We're non-judgmental, we're non-prescriptive, we're not going to tell them what they need to do to better their lives. It's about asking them what they need and listening to them and helping them gain the skills and confidence to go after it.
What's that like working with young people and doing it in this particular way?
It's very rewarding. Our young people, they're so resilient, they're so intelligent. They're so much more than I think society gives them credit for. They've got they're each no two youth are the same. They have different tastes in music and clothing and different ideas about the world and different life goals. And whether they're sleeping under a bridge or in transitional housing or trying to work on family reunification, they're all they're just great. They're great young people, and when you build that trusting relationship with them, it means the world. It really makes a difference.
Well, you obviously have a whole lot of love for young people. What's it like, each day to, have tough conversations with them? Because I'm sure it's not always, a whole lot of joy and love. Well, what is that like?
Yeah, I mean, it can be heavy sometimes. These young people have been just kicked while they're down a lot of the time. Homelessness doesn't occur in a vacuum. It's something that social policy creates, right? Our housing policy, our child welfare policies, our institutional policies, they all work together to create barriers for young people. And so when they've been failed by the systems, I mean, a lot of them are frustrated and angry. A lot of us are frustrated that the system, creates these conditions for young people. And so you're right, it's not all, sparkles and joy, but it is, that's why we're there. We're advocates. We'll stand up and say, that's not right. We call it like we see it. And so when we're having those tough conversations with young people, again, we're on their side. We operate in something called a harm reduction approach, which means, we're not going to be like, you shouldn't do that, because they just shut down. They there's shame, there's guilt, and it doesn't work that way. And so if you want them to, you have to build that trust first. And you can say, well, if you're going to do it like that, try being a little safer. This might help. And I mean, data shows statistically, once you help someone be a little safer, they're more likely to think about what they're doing, and in the long term get help trying a different way. So for example, if we have young people who are using substances and we're like, hey, if you're going to do that, here's safe supplies or safe, cleaner supplies, so you don't get HIV or you don't get a bloodborne illness. That shows that we care about them. And I mean, it also saves the healthcare system a lot of money, because an HIV case costs money on the healthcare system. And so that little piece, it not only helps build a relationship with the young person, it shows, I care about you. I don't want you to get, hurt or an illness. And then it builds trust. And then in the long term, I think it's something like 40% of substance users, or they were 40% more likely to access treatment if they had been involved in harm reduction and working with harm reduction services.
So then do you see a lot of people who are more consistent visitors?
Yeah. Some people, they just need a meal and they head on. Some of them are traveling across Canada. And again, word of mouth is like, oh, well, when you land in Winnipeg, make sure you go to Ray. Um, but some of them, we'll see them for years. Success is different for everyone, and it's different at every life stage. And so when someone first starts coming to us, they might be gang entrenched, and then we help them. Maybe they manage to cut ties there and build new family connections. But then maybe so that's a success, right? Absolute success, huge. And then maybe their next challenge is substance use and their mental health. And it's not, you can't just slap a Band-Aid or a piece of duct tape on, your mental health and call it done for the rest of your life, right? And so we have some people who, watching them grow over years is just incredible. Watching them come out of their shells, gain confidence, overcome obstacles, it's wonderful. And so some people might be like, well, you didn't help that person, they're still coming to you, but it's not the case, right? It's that we're helping them. We're not helping them. We're supporting them in them taking steps. We're walking shoulder to shoulder with them, and we're there to witness their successes. We witness.
Well, how many people do you usually see each year?
Yeah. At our drop-in center, we'll often see over 2,000 young people a year. Our street outreach team drives around Winnipeg in our outreach van, handing out sandwiches, bottles of water, harm reduction supplies, cold weather gear. They're going into encampments and things, and they'll often see, as many as 1,000 people a month. I think we estimate, because the data collection on the street is a little different, but it's between 3,000 and 4,000 individuals on the streets a year.
Wow. What's it like safety wise? I know in bus shelters, it's not, well, people go there for warmth. It's very unsafe right now. What are you guys seeing?
Safety is always on our minds. I firmly believe that the relationships we're building on the streets and that non-judgmental approach, it does have a somewhat protective element to it. But we're always concerned about health and safety, making sure our staff are taken care of, making sure they're not going into unsafe places, making sure they're going places together, so you're not going alone, things like that. The atmosphere on the streets right now is extremely challenging. We're seeing different drug use, or like drug use and violence in ways that we haven't before. But unfortunately, a lot of what we're seeing, there's danger to folks on the streets, but there's more danger to our unsheltered relatives than there. There's this misconception that people in poverty are criminals, but they're also far, far more likely to be the victims of crimes. Mm-hmm. I don't have the most recent stats, but young people using our services, well over half have been the victim of a crime in their lives. Whether it's assault or theft or abuse of some sort. And so it's very easy to write them off as dangerous, but it takes some of the blame off of the climate and the situation that creates that danger. One of the biggest challenges on the streets right now is overdose deaths. We are very lucky. We hand out naloxone, which is a substance that prevents and reverses it reverses the effects of an opioid overdose. And we're administering so many doses of that now. We've handed out over 2,000 kits this year. And, we're making sure that people know how to spot the effects of an overdose and how to reverse them, how to, get on the phone with paramedics as soon as possible. And our team is saving lives every day. It's incredible. Where we used to do maybe 4 resuscitations every couple of years, maybe one resuscitation a year. We're now doing as many as 4 in a week or in a month. And so, poverty and the systems that are in place are creating this atmosphere, unfortunately.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that with me.
One of the things that matters to us a lot at Ray is data, right? In order to address the issue, we need to understand the issue. And so what we did in July is our research team put out a report on the effects that the COVID-19 pandemic has had on our street outreach. And it's got some really interesting data in there. So I'll send it to you and you can.
Yeah, that would be excellent. Thank you. I just have one last question for you. What's it like, for Ray to partner again with CF Polo Park?
Oh my goodness. We love Cadillac Fairview. They're just amazing. And CF Polo Park is, they're such a consistent partner. Last winter, they collected like coats and sweaters and things for us, winter gear. This year, they've got this epic frozen fairways thing going on. And, they think of us. They think of the folks that we're supporting. They think of the young people. And they're always there, throughout the pandemic. It's been, how can we support you? What do you need? They're just wonderful. We adore them. So we're very excited to be partnering with them again on this.